I talk about viruses and other kinds of malware on this channel a lot, but I don't think I've ever really talked about how to actually remove them, despite this being one of the most common jobs that I did when I worked at Geek Squad. Now, before I get into this, there are a few side notes for you to keep in mind. Number one, this guide is for Windows desktops. Now, Windows is the platform that most commonly gets infected with malware, so chances are if you look this guide up, you've probably got an infected Windows machine on your hands. But maybe in the future, I will do a guide for virus removal on other platforms because it is possible for them to get malware as well. Number two, this guide is not going to help you with reversing damage that's caused by ransomware. It could remove the ransomware virus itself, but it's not going to recover your files. You're going to need to restore from backup to do that. Which brings me to number three. This guide is not 100% guaranteed to remove every virus in the world. This is kind of like Germ-X. It's only 99.9% effective. Some viruses, especially new ones that are made by professionals, are not going to be detected until antivirus scanners have seen enough samples of it and they're able to update their definitions to be able to find it in the wild. Or a specialized tool is created to remove that virus. Typically, you see this with things like rootkits. The only 100% guaranteed method to remove a virus is, unfortunately, to reset your operating system and then to restore your data from a clean backup, which is why backing up is so important. Now, with all that out of the way, let's take a look at Tron Script. So this tool is very different from most of the other anti-malware programs because instead of it just removing viruses from your computer, it also cleans up your system, it debloats it, and it patches your system to try and prevent new malware from being installed to it. So we can see the different stages it goes through: stage 0 prep, and then stage 1 temp clean, stage 2 debloat, stage 3 disinfect, stage 4 repair, stage 5 patch, stage 6 optimize, then stage 7 is wrap up, and then there's a couple of other optional stages, like you can run custom scripts on there, and then there's manual tools for very persistent malware, things like rootkit scanners and whatnot. So let's take a look at this program in action. This is the official Tron Script subreddit, and it is also where you would download the program from. So you can use any of these mirrors, but I recommend using the official one just because sometimes the other ones will be outdated. Like earlier, I downloaded one from Mirror 1, and it was one version behind. So just use the official mirror if you're downloading it. Okay, then we'll go ahead and open it. Now, this exe, it doesn't... This isn't actually the Tron script itself. It's going to download a batch file and it's going to put it in the same folder, so my downloads folder. And I could actually just open the folder here. So Tron, and then this Windows batch file here. So you're going to want to right click on this and run it as an administrator. Then hit yes. And you can either run this from normal mode in Windows like I'm doing now, or you could run it from safe mode if you've got some very severe malware that prevents you from loading it up. Okay, so now it's giving you this disclaimer that, hey, they're not responsible if you break your system. So you just have to type, I agree, in all caps. Okay, and so now we have this menu here. It is possible to run each of these steps individually. So let's say that you have a system where maybe it's slow, but you know that there's no viruses on it. So you don't want to do the disinfect method because that part actually takes a while. You could just run everything else if you ran this from the command line. But I'm going to run it through the entire thing just to show you guys what this is capable of doing. So we'll go ahead and hit enter or any key to continue. Okay, so it's doing the stage 0 prep and it's stopping themes. It's trying to stop any other services that don't need to be running. It might close out Internet Explorer or Microsoft Edge, we'll see. But yeah, like you can see here where it said it's temporarily stopping the theme service and the like Windows arrow or whatever they call the transparency down here got closed out. And then let's see. Normally you'd want to run this, but I can just skip this .NET framework. This is a fresh VM of Windows, so I'm just basically using this to show off the app. There's not any malware that's even on this system, unless you count Windows itself as malware. So it looks like it actually needed the .NET for the McAfee Stinger scan. So that's why you would want to go ahead and install that so that it's able to run all the antivirus. It runs multiple antivirus programs, by the way. I think I kind of skipped over that when I was looking at the GitHub, but it runs Malwarebytes, McAfee, as you saw right there. I think it also runs Kaspersky. And that's the same thing that we did. Well, we use a couple different programs at Geek Squad, but the proprietary tool that I used at that job follows the same idea. It uses multiple antivirus scanners on the system. And the reason it does that is because sometimes one antivirus will catch things that another one doesn't. So it really is a good idea to, when you're removing viruses, to run multiple antivirus. Now, you don't want to have multiple ones running at the same time, because typically antivirus programs are not just scanners like this is going to run. They actually are running 24/7 on your system, trying to actively prevent new infections. So you don't want to have multiple going at the same time like that, because then they'll start fighting with each other. They'll think that one is malware because they tend to run with elevated system privileges. You can also see here that it launched Ccleaner, so that's running in the background. I bet a lot of you guys are familiar with Ccleaner. Okay, so the temp clean finished and the debloat has begun. You can see all the steps that it's taking there. The debloat finished, and now the disinfect is beginning. And this step usually takes a little bit longer. You can see that now it's launching the job install Malwarebytes anti-malware, and then it's going to run that in the background. Okay, so here it had launched the Kaspersky virus removal tool, and it started the scan right there. Should finish in maybe a couple minutes to a few seconds. I didn't set the disk size to this to be very big, and again, this is a fresh install of Windows, so it doesn't have as much to scan as it might on your system. Your mileage may vary. Okay, so you can see some of the results here from the virus scan. Of course, didn't find anything. And then here's the Sophos virus removal tool. So far, that's 3 different scanners that it used to scan my system. And of course, it tried to use McAfee's tool as well, so it would have been 4 if I updated my .NET framework. All right, so the stage 3 has fully finished, and looking at the time on just my raw OBS recording, it's been running for about 18 minutes. So didn't take super long. I know when I first started the script, I think it says to let it wait about 4 to 6 hours to run. But again, fresh Windows install, running on an NVMe drive, only has about 100 gigabytes dedicated to it. It's going to make it be a little bit faster. Your mileage may vary. But now it's doing the stage 4, the repair job. So we're about halfway done. All right, so the repair phase just finished, and now it's doing the patch phase. So you can see what some of these patches are. It's running Windows updates. It's doing this base reset, and all of that finished because I've already got all the updates installed for Windows. But if you're out of date, then that's going to take a while. It's not going to download everything. I believe that this is just doing security updates primarily. So if you're behind with any of those, then it might take a little while to download and install them. And it did the optimization phase. So yeah, it's skipping a defrag of C. Although this defragging is probably not even a word that's very common in the lexicon anymore, because defragging was really only relevant on hard disk drives. On SSDs, we don't do defragging, and I don't think any systems mid-grade and up for the last 5 years don't have solid-state drives in them. And let's see. So it did the wrap-up, resetting Windows power settings to defaults. And okay, so it just finished, and we saw that it cleans up after itself. So like it uninstalled malware bytes because it installed for me, so it's not keeping anything unnecessarily on there. So yeah, we're all finished. And then we've got some of the stats here. So of course we're not in safe mode. There were no warnings that were detected. And after doing all of that cleaning, it actually did manage to free up 1 megabyte of space. If you haven't done any of this cleaning on your system, then a lot of it might get freed up. I remember way back in the day on, this was like Windows Vista, how I would run Ccleaner on my little 1-core laptop with 1 gigabyte of RAM in it, trying to free up as much space as possible so I could install GTA San Andreas or Halo Combat Evolved to my little, I think it was like a 30 gigabyte hard disk drive. Didn't have a whole lot of space, but oh man, good times. Just got really nostalgic all of a sudden. So this is definitely a system administration program that you should check out. It is still actively being maintained and updated. Like you can see that this is from January of 2022. Still gets updates, even though it's been around for years and years. And this is what I would go to using for fixing up Windows machines. Now, that's not really a part of my day-to-day work anymore. With network engineering, I'm generally touching Linux machines, Linux servers. But definitely, if you're using Windows yourself or you're administering Windows machines, this is a tool that you should grab and start using it. I'll leave a link to the Reddit download in the description of this video. Like and comment to hack the algorithm. Subscribe to me on Odyssey. Have a great rest of your day.